What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Create Above and Beyond, and today we are going to be finalizing the production of calculation mechanisms. It's definitely been a lot of work to get to this point where we are almost done with Chapter 4. In the first episode of Chapter 4, we set up the Earth and Ice Charge generation, which was actually a lot of fun to do. Admittedly, it's a little bit loud, a little bit dangerous, but it is working flawlessly. And then last episode, we set up this monstrosity over here, which is currently producing our silicon. It has not run into any issues yet, which is great. That's something I always worry about, is once I start letting these things run for extended periods of time, if they're going to run into any issues. And thankfully, this one has not. I even got to add some additional upgrades in here to speed it up a little bit. So now we are going to be making use of this silicon and finishing off Chapter 4, and we're going to be doing it right over here. Now, I know this is really not a super nice looking area. I promise I will make it nicer later, but I'm actually contemplating doing something a little bit interesting with this, with re-extending sort of this dirt area over top of it and having an overhang. But I need some area to work in for today's episode, and I really don't like having to dig out an area and not be able to move around a bunch. So for now, we'll be working in here, but we don't really have that much that we need to do today. So if we take a look at the quest book for Chapter 4, we made it all the way to this portion right here with our silicon last episode, which means all we have left are these quests right here. Now, these are additional ones that come after for making things like the printed calculation circuits, logic circuits, and all that stuff. This is really simple to do. I might cover it today, but I might just do it off camera. It's really just going to be like 2 or 3 thermal series machines in a row, and you'll have everything you could possibly need. But today we're going to be covering this portion right here, and it's basically just going to be making printed silicon and then assembling those into calculation mechanisms using some deployers, flash drives, all that stuff. And then we can finish off Chapter 4, which is putting us pretty close to the end of this pack. So once we do that, we'll start working on some side quests. We'll do some applied energistics stuff and all that good stuff. But for now, we are going to start setting it up right over here. One quick thing I do want to note before we start setting this up is that if I sound a little bit different in this video, or it, seems like a little bit of a shorter video than usual, that is intentional. That's because I got my 3rd shot the other day, and it has absolutely run me into the ground. So I wanted to make sure that I got a video out for you guys, but not feeling super hot right now. Actually, I'm feeling very hot right now because I have a bit of a fever, but I'm not feeling that great right now. So I do want to put that out there in case you guys are wondering why I sound different, or why maybe I'm a little bit less energetic, or if I almost sound out of breath or more so than usual. That's unfortunately why. So hopefully you guys will bear with me on that one, and I promise we'll be back to my regular voice and regular length episodes in the coming days when I should be better by then. But now we can start setting this up. And again, we're going to be doing it in this area right here. And the first section that we need to worry about is making the printed silicon. Now, obviously, we're going to have to bring the silicon from there over here. I'm debating whether I want to weighted ejector it, or if I really just want to pretty pipe it through that area, through the ground, and then over here. I'm going to wait and make a judgment call later, but either way, we're going to put a depot right here, and then I am going to put down a drawer right here, and then we're just going to hopper it down into the depot. Now, I don't really care about mass transferring from the drawer because it's going to happen one at a time anyway with it pressing to make the printed silicon. We just need to make sure that it's able to store as much as it could possibly need in this oak drawer, because we're definitely going to be producing more silicon than we are able to manage over here until I increase the speed of it. I can always up the speed, but I tend to just leave it at 20 RPM because I'm lazy. So if we come in here, we're going to grab out our inscriber silicon press, which is one of the 4 different types of inscribed things that you're going to need from AE2. And we're going to put down a deployer right up here, and I want the rotation, yeah, that should be good for the rotation eventually, to be like this. So it's going to be not facing outward from the setup, and then we're just going to put the inscriber press right there. And if we come in and grab out a upgrade, this should be more than enough for now. I think 1024 stacks in here is going to be more than enough. I could put a void upgrade in here if I really wanted to, but I mean, if we take a look over here at my coins right now, what are these at? These are buying things pretty frequently because I'm crafting stuff all the time. And this one is only at maybe about 2,000. So I don't think we're really going to hit that limit anytime soon over here. So I know we always talk in the comments about making sure that there is backlog protection on these, because once things start to get backed up, stuff starts to break. And that's nothing different with this system over here. If stuff gets backed up, stuff is going to break. So very important to note. But now this should be pretty much good. Once this has rotational power and there is silicon here, it will be pressed and that will turn into the printed silicon. So that quest to be done. Now we need to do the calculation mechanism assembly, which is very similar to every other assembly we've done. Just going to be 3 deployers and then a flash drive. So to make this setup, I'm going to do what I typically do and simply put a shaft down right here, which is just going to be used to put this shaft down. Then we're going to put down another shaft, another one, and then 2 more. And then we can come over here and get rid of this shaft and this one. Then we're going to connect these with a belt, and we are going to connect these with a belt. And then we're going to grab out the brass tunnels, and those can go on this right here and this right here. Now, this was something that I thought would work differently, and I might have just messed it up when I was testing it, but for some reason, I thought you'd be able to use a brass funnel to pull off this depot, and I guess we can just put that down right now for the sake of looking at this and discussing it, but basically, we're going to have this brass funnel right here pulling only the printed silicon, not the regular silicon, up onto this belt system. Now, when I was testing this, I thought you could make it a little bit smaller simply by having this brass funnel go into the belts that were right under this brass tunnel right here. And I thought it would still input it into the brass tunnel and then get split into round robin. For some reason, that doesn't happen. And when you put it in using this brass funnel into like right here, it only comes out this one. So you don't get the split. So for some reason, we had to extend it 1. I don't know if that's just me making a mistake. For some reason, I thought it worked differently, but either way, we're going to set a random filter for this brass funnel just because I need to have the printed silicon and I don't have a single piece of that on me right now. So whenever it's done, we will come back and reset this filter. But then we got to hop up here and set these to be round robin. Now, it doesn't matter if it's round robin or forced round robin, but we just need to set it to some kind of round robin. And then we can grab out some more deployers, some more belt systems, and the final belt system is going to be run right down here. So we're going to run it right like this, and then it'll be deployer, deployer, deployer. So the last one should be right here, and we can connect these like so, and then we'll need to put down our deployer on top of this, like that, and like that. So that should be good. And then finally, we are going to need some andesite funnels to input into both of these deployers right here. The first 2 in the setup, which are obviously going to be making the printed silicon into the inductive mechanism. So steps 1 and 2. That third one, we're going to put a flash drive in. So we don't need to worry about anything automatically going in here. But before we put that stuff in, we can just finish off this setup. Very simple. We're just going to grab out a drawer, and I can put some dirt down here. I'll make this look nicer later, but drawer right there. And you don't need to use a brass funnel for this. You can save yourself some resources, and you can use an andesite funnel because it's going to not allow it to go into this funnel until you've actually completed the assembly process here, including the 3rd step. Even though it's in the same block, it is still going to need you to finish the assembly process before it goes in here. So again, you can save yourself some resources and not use one of the brass ones. Not that you really should be worried about resources right now, mainly considering we're almost done with chapter 4. So if resources are an issue for you right now, including brass, that's a little bit concerning if you ask me. But now this pretty much covers everything in here. One thing we do need to do though is deal with the flash drive because these all get consumed. Anything in the 3rd step of the assembly process will slowly get consumed. I don't necessarily get the phraseology on these. I've never really complained about this before, but the phraseology for these says not consumed in the assembly process. Technically, that's true and false because, yes, this is not used every single time, but it loses durability. So eventually, the assembly process does, in fact, consume this. It just consumes a fraction of it every single time. So it's a little bit confusing with that, I'm assuming for people starting out. So to get around this, I have a bunch of money now. So we are just going to go to this right here, the market page. And you can see I've already bought all of these unbreaking for the prior assemblies. But now we're going to buy this one. So we're going to submit our flash drive, our gold coins, and there we go. One of the benefits, the many benefits of having pretty much unlimited money, not only do we get unlimited resources, but we get things that are unbreaking. So Now we just throw that in there, and we will never have to worry about making those again because they're a little bit of a pain to make. So if you're running through those a lot, that's going to be slightly annoying. So I think now we can start, I guess we can start hooking up some of the rotational power for this because it's pretty easy to do. We're just going to run a shaft between these two, and then over here, because the direction of rotation doesn't matter, we should be good to just connect these with cogwheels. And then I think maybe we can just come down here with a cogwheel like that. And so now this, we're going to assume this will get the correct direction of rotation. Might need to fiddle a bit because right now none of the deployers matter. So really it's just going to be this belt system up here and this belt system right here. So then we can grab out a gearbox and put it right there. And really the question is just if this is going to be what we need or if we need a chain drive here to keep it the same direction. But that should really be it. And then these will connect to each other. And that'll be good. So what I'm going to do is quickly hop off camera and I'm going to get this rotational power and then we'll be back. Well, this entire setup now has rotational power. And as you can see, it is all working. It worked out pretty nicely where it did end up being 2 cogwheels to get these belts up here and this belt right here to rotate in the correct directions, which is great. And so now for the most part, this should be done. If we look over here, I do in fact have the silicon coming over from the setup over there. But I will say that it got a little bit hairy to get this all done. You can see up there, it's a little bit messy, and that's mainly because I tried to put the pretty pipe over here to pull out of this, but that ends up blocking this setup down here, which is why if we take a look at my inventory, I've got a bunch of partially cut coke. So I had to put it in the back there because we couldn't put it in the front, and I had to do some wiring of other stuff back there, but it is now working. We now have it coming over here. And it's sitting in the hopper, and then it will start filling up this drawer. And the one that is sitting out here on this depot has been turned into printed silicon, which means the task for this is finally complete. And now we already have the flash drive right over here. So if we just want to grab that back, it's unfortunate because you do need to make printed silicon to make the flash drive. But I went through right before this episode and completed all these quests because I totally forgot that I had to complete these quests. So I was about to start the episode and none of these were done, even though we finished them like a week ago. So a bit unfortunate that I missed out on completing that one too at the time, but now it is done. That's, by the way, that is one of the reasons that this is so annoying to make, is the recipe for this thing is a huge pain until you've completed all this stuff down here. So if you try to make it beforehand like I did, then you're just going to be individually setting things up to process it just to have it ahead of time instead of probably what I should have done, which is made it right now. But this guy right here stumbled upon our area and he's got a lot of explosives in here. So I think that's a little bit suspicious. So we're just going to deal with him right now. I don't really like the idea that he is wandering around our area with a bunch of stuff that's going to blow up. So really the last thing left for us to do is set this printed silicon as the filter here, and it should be getting split evenly between these two. Yep, it is. They are now in here ready to go, which means that we need to go over and grab some of our mechanisms. And it's also occurring to me right now that we probably need an additional drawer. So I'm going to grab out some oak trims that I made in there. We'll make another drawer. And we have an additional andesite funnel. Yes, because we need to also have the input for these mechanisms. So if we come over here, they are right here. We got almost 19 stacks of them. So we should be good to just grab out, I'd probably like a couple more stacks, man. You know what? I'm just going to dump this cut coke over here and we're going to let it despawn because I really don't care about it. So let's just get... Is that our full inventory? Yeah, so that should be good. We've got a little bit of a messy inventory after I set all the rest of this stuff up. But I love running through the base now. Now that like a lot of this stuff is set up and decorated and running, it's so satisfying to me. But this right here, I need to rework. This is actually not supposed to be a throughput, but I guess I can get rid of these technically. They're just my manual processing. I'm supposed to come over here. But either way, I love running through the base because I think it looks so cool with everything running at the same time. Now we should come back here, and to set this up, we're probably going to have to break some glass. Yeah, we're going to break this glass. What? It'll be this glass right here. So let's just break this glass, put down a drawer. No, that's the oak trim. Darn it. Okay, we need to break the oak trim and immediately put down the drawer. I get these mixed up. I guess I should have put the oak trim back in the chest. There we go. No, it's on the it's on the belt system. Give me that back. There we go. Okay. So now over here is where we need to put the inductive mechanisms, and I am going to just use a key for all of these because it'll look a lot nicer. So we're going to lock this, and then if we put the silicon there we go. And if we come over here and we put in our inductive mechanisms, we can lock that. And the final thing we need to do is simply put an andesite funnel right here onto this belt. Okay, so let's watch. Does it work? 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and there we go. We have our calculation mechanism. Oh my gosh. So complete that chapter there. And now all that's left over here is to make an ME controller. Now this is made using blackstone and a lead plate. We can trade for blackstone. So I might need to whip out a trade station and quickly trade for that just so we can basically complete the end of chapter 4. I don't know if you need those additional quests, but do I have a trade station in here? I do. I do have a trade station. Okay, so can we just come over somewhere with power, basically, and we can quickly make this trade. This is a super weird to do it like this, but okay, so now we need to come in and we need to trade for blackstone, which is right here. I don't have any silver on me. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, maybe this won't be a short episode with how I'm doing this. Okay, we're going to need some of these coins to trade and some of them to buy the actual trades. So let's do this. There we go. And let's put this in there, this in there. We only need a bit of blackstone. There we go. You know what? I'll just let this trade a couple because it doesn't hurt to have additional blackstone, especially if we're going to have to make more applied energistics stuff. So there we go. We can grab these back. And there we go. Okay, so we got the blackstone, and that was blackstone and a lead plate. So it's looking like, man, my inventory is a mess right now. Okay, so let's get out our lead over here, and we can get out a couple of these. We can get out like 8 of them, and we'll just come over to the manual processing area that I said I was going to get rid of. But I guess this is just proof that I shouldn't actually get rid of it because it's useful all the time. I should really speed this up though. I should make an area that's a lot faster because especially when I was making Invar manually, this was horrible to deal with. It was so slow. Okay, we'll grab off though. I was gonna have it wait. There we go. We'll get off 4. The rest of these can go back on here, and then we will do our crafting real quick. So which one was it? It was the Fluix casing. There we go. So we get 8 of them, and then I should grab out the 8 additional inductive or calculation mechanisms. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And now we can do the final crafting. I need to set up crafting areas also around the base because running all the way back here every time is a little bit annoying. There they are. Okay. There they go. We now have our ME controller. Very nice, which means we can complete this quest right here, which gives us a bunch of random things. And is that going to allow us to complete chapter 4 here and go to chapter 5? It does. So that is going to be it for today, guys. The setup is running flawlessly. Super happy with it. Chapter 4 is now done. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to give it a like and be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on a future one. And I will talk to you guys later.